Hey everyone, it's Elliott, and welcome back to the channel. So back when I got my Fractal AX8, the floor unit that preceded the FM3, I was, understandably looking to just basically recreate my pedal board. I didn't see it for what it was at the time. One of my favorite overdrive pedals at the time was the Dude overdrive pedal. And it was like a Dumble in a box or something like that. And I kept looking in the overdrive section for something similar in the AX8, completely just overlooking the fact that they had kind of a Dumble amp in the AX8 that would be the amp in that box instead of the pedal box. I had that mindset for like quite a while in regards to different pedals I liked that were also amp in a box kind of pedals, and not just realizing that I had the amp model in the thing in the AX8 and I didn't need a pedal to also still get that sound. But I was using a pedal board with an amp for a long time, so it's just one of those things where like, yeah, I got into a certain way of thinking of like, all right, I gotta turn this, deluxe reissue into a Marshall or into a whatever. I gotta turn this one amp into 5 different amps instead of just using 5 different amps. Sometimes I'll run into some issues live though, or I have at least, where my clean sound will be a 1x12 IR and my distortion sound will be a 4x12 IR, with like infinitely more bass, and I can kind of EQ them at home, but you get there live and there's way more bass that the sound person EQs out, and then your clean's really bright, whatever. It's a nightmare. And I kind of am thinking like, man, I wish I had like just a pedal to turn on or something like that. Not exactly actually a pedal, but something that would change the overall character of the sound, but then not require, a 4x12 to go along with it. Lately, I've been playing around with speaker impedance in the amp block and then pairing IRs that way. In the preset I'm using today, I'm using a high-powered TWEED twin, a 1959 SLP treble, a Plexi 100-watt jumped, and a Friedman Dirty Shirley. Obviously, I would have a lot of differences going on if I was switching between all those and their respective matching IRs. So I went in and changed the speaker impedance on all the amps to fit this one IR, and it actually kind of sounds like I'm just turning on amp in a box pedals. So today I'd like to demonstrate for you this, see what you think of it, and then I'll also show you what would happen if I matched each of those overdrive amps with their respective IRs. So here's the clean. So here's Dirt, which is the 1959 SLP treble, through the same IR that I just played through with the clean amp. Here's Dirtier, which is the Plexi 100-watt jumped through the same IR that I played through with the clean amp. So here is Dirt Lead, which is that Plexi 100-watt jumped through the clean IR, whatever, with a pedal in front of it, which has the effect, at least to my ear, of kind of stacking overdrives on your pedal board. for the odd one out, Heavy, which is the Friedman Dirty Shirley, played through the same IR that I played through the cleans with. So to me, that sort of sounds like I'm turning on pedals, because the character's changing, the EQ's changing, of course, but it's not taking up any more room or something like that. Like the whole world didn't change, just, you know, a little piece of it did. So I'll play for you a similar passage with the amps as pedals and with the amps as their amps. Here's the Plexi 100 watt. Skipping dirt lead, going straight to heavy. So as you can tell, as soon as I switched the IRs and the speaker impedance back to the matching IRs, EQ was a whole different thing. And granted, I could EQ those amps, and I should EQ those amps for those IRs. And they would sound a little bit, better. But that can be the difference, is, you can EQ your way out of any scenario, really, but it's a lot of different flavor that you're working with. There's a lot of different presence, not like the presence knob, but like the presence of the, amp in the room, the cabinet that's being mic'd in the room that it's being mic'd in. So I could EQ those amps to those IRs and make it as perfect as they could be, but it would still feel, at least in this scenario, like I'm switching between different amps, like I have a multi-amp setup live, versus putting pedals on and having my one amp kind of just change character. I didn't really make any wild EQ changes, and everything kind of just fit, at least to my ear, with that initial, everything through the same IR test. And obviously with the matching IRs, I would maybe need to, quite a bit different approach. So if you're just making the jump over from pedals to an FM3 or something, maybe try this method. I know it's a little bit advanced to, go into the subcategories of each block, but it could be a thing, and it could at least be a bridge from what you're used to into the new. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks for dropping by the channel. We're excited about guitar.